Hey guys, welcome to our Unit 2, which is Atmosphere Layers of Earth. Specifically, we're going to talk about the layers of Earth's atmosphere. Now, if you ever need a reason why you need to learn about atmosphere, let me give you one. So, let's suppose that you were stuck or stranded in a desert and you had no food or water. Well, let me tell you that you would last at least a couple of days without food or water. But if you did not have our atmosphere, if you were in the desert or anywhere really, and you did not have the Earth's atmosphere, you would not last more than 5 minutes. That's how important atmosphere is. That's how important the role of an atmosphere is. Now, we've learned a lot about oxygen in the past few years and how important it is to our survival. Let's look at atmosphere. Now, it's nothing complicated really. Atmosphere is simply just a mixture of gases that surrounds a planet or a moon. In our case, we're talking about the Earth, right? So think about it like a blanket that's covering our planet completely, right? To make sure we are safe and we are protected. So atmosphere is nothing but just a mixture of gases that surrounds our planet Earth. And of course, it provides us with oxygen that we use for breathing. Well, not exactly provides, but it contains oxygen, right? Oxygen is provided by plants or phytoplanktons, sorry. So yeah, it contains a lot of oxygen that we obviously need for breathing, but that's not the only purpose oxygen atmosphere serves, right? It also protects us from harmful ultraviolet radiations from the sun. Now, if we did not have a layer or several layers of atmosphere between us and the sun, I promise you, the ultraviolet radiations or the UV rays from the sun would cause a lot of damage. For example, a lot of people would have severe blisters or even skin cancers if they were not taken care of without the atmosphere. Well, that is if he did survive from the lack of oxygen. But yeah, now can everything impact atmosphere or the composition? Yes. Every breath we take, right? Every tree we plant, every vehicle that is driven has a huge impact on the composition of our atmosphere. So I'm pretty sure you've heard, plant more trees or try to carpool more often, use public transportation when you can. The reason for this is to make sure there is a proper balance in the composition of our atmosphere. Right now, obviously, there's a lot of vehicles out there that have a lot of emissions like chemicals, smoke, etc., that is very harmful to our atmosphere. So, yeah, everything can have a huge impact on our atmosphere, and we should try to make sure there's always a healthy balance within these components. Now, let's look at characteristics. Of course, the most important or the most common gas that is found in our atmosphere is nitrogen gas. If you remember, nitrogen gas is N2 in terms of the symbol that is used in our model. So it is composed of nitrogen gas. In fact, it is composed of about 78 to 79% of nitrogen gas. The second most common is obviously oxygen. It takes up a little more than 20% of our atmosphere, so between 20 to 21%, I would say. And it also contains other particles like dust, sea salt, dirt, volcanic ash, that comes from eruptions, volcanic eruptions, and smoke. Now, if you actually, you probably have seen this, but if you turn on your flashlight in the day or even in the dark, you would see a few particles just floating around. That is just a part of our atmosphere. These are some of the particles that make up our atmosphere. Next, of course, another important factor that we have in our atmosphere is the water, right? Again, we would not survive a lot without water. And we need rain, right, for crops, for agriculture. And we get this from obviously the water that is present in our atmosphere. So water is found in the atmosphere in the liquid state as water droplets, and in the solid state as ice or snow, ice crystals or snow. Now these are the things that are found in the clouds, and when they melt, obviously they fall as rain. But we'll talk about it later when we actually talk about the water cycle. However, obviously the water exists in the gaseous state the most, and the gaseous state of water, if you remember, is water vapor, right? And depending on how the atmospheric conditions change, and by these I mean obviously the temperature or pressure, depending on how temperature of the atmosphere or pressure in the atmosphere changes, the water can also change its state from gaseous to liquid to solid and vice versa. So like it can change from water vapor to something more liquidy, which is water droplets, and then to more solid, which is ice crystals, or the opposite way. So it really depends on what the temperature or pressure in the atmosphere is like. Now, if you look at this chart, it will show you the atmospheric composition. Like I said, nitrogen is obviously the biggest component. Here it's 78 to 79%. Then we have oxygen, which is 20 to 21%. And then we have other gases here, which is about 1%. Let's look at each of these individually. So we have nitrogen, which is 70 to 79%. Again, it's the most common atmospheric gas. And it is released when dead plants and animals break down. So after they die, they break down, right? They're broken down by decomposing bacteria, and so on. And when they break down, they release nitrogen. And obviously also when volcanoes erupt, it also releases nitrogen gas. On the other hand, oxygen is second most common atmospheric gas. It has about 20 to 21% of atmosphere. And this is made by plants and phytoplanktons. It's actually phyto. I'm sorry, I'm going to go ahead and correct this later, but it's phytoplankton. It's PHY. And then we have other gases, right? Other gases are atmosphere contains about 1% of other gases. These can include carbon dioxide, water vapor. So just imagine how much water we get normally using rain, and that's less than 1% in the atmosphere. So that's a lot of water vapor, that's a lot of carbon dioxide, argon, and so on. That is all we're going to talk about today. I hope you guys have a great day. See you later.